Most of us know Bob Denver from his famous role as Gilligan on Gilligan's Island. Others may remember him from his breakout role as Maynard G. Krebs in The Many Loves of Dobie, Gillis. However, only the most dedicated fans remember his one-time appearance on The Andy Griffith Show. Before Bob Denver debuted as Gilligan in September of 1964, he played a resident of Mayberry named Dud Wash. However, he only held this role for a single episode. Both the episode itself and Bob Denver's appearance on the show are shrouded in mystery, which we'll explore in this video. Divorce Mountain Style. The fateful episode is the 25th episode of Season 4, titled Divorce Mountain Style. This episode originally aired on March 30th, 1964, just a few months before Gilligan's Island aired for the first time. Given that Bob Denver makes his first and only appearance in this episode, many people assume he was cast in the role purely to generate excitement for the upcoming Gilligan's Island series. Since The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis ended in 1963, this was one of his few television appearances before Gilligan's aired. He also had a brief appearance on Dr. Kildare, The Farmer's Daughter, and The Danny Thomas Show during this period. Beyond the particular timing of his appearance on The Andy Griffith Show, regular viewers of the series will remember his character, Dud Wash, was previously played by another actor. Before this episode, he was played by Hoke Howell. According to an interview with Hoke Howell's son, Stark, he put everything into the role of Dud Wash. After receiving scripts, Hoke would tweak his dialogue so he portrayed the natural Southern hillbilly that brought the role to life. Despite having a career that spanned several decades, Stark says Dud Wash is one of his father's most remembered roles. Sadly, Hoke Howell passed away on May 9, 1997, due to heart failure. His son continues to represent him and his memorable role as a resident of Mayberry at the annual Mayberry Days event. When asked about why Hoke Howell was replaced by Bob Denver, Stark Howell also believes it was a decision made to help Bob Denver gain exposure prior to Gilligan's Island. Even though Hoke was likely available for the episode, the brass at CBS seemed to make a business decision in placing Bob in the role. Bob Denver's performance. Regardless of the controversial casting decision, Bob Denver's appearance was a pleasant surprise that made this episode particularly memorable. The episode starts much like any other, with Barney and Andy sitting at the courthouse. Suddenly, Charlene Darling drops in and asks Barney and Andy to do her a mysterious favor by driving her to an undisclosed location. Charlene Darling is played by Maggie Peterson, an actress with a number of credits that include The Andy Griffith Show, Mayberry RFD, and even Gomer Pyle USMC. Although she's best known for portraying Charlene Darling, she also played the role of Doris in another episode of The Andy Griffith Show, called A Girl for Goober. Charlene famously has a crush on Andy, which gets Barney and Andy into trouble in this episode. After accepting her mysterious request, Barney calls Sarah, the telephone operator, to let her know they will not be around if there's an emergency. This is the only time that a call like this is made in the entire series, despite the fact that Barney and Andy frequently leave the courthouse for errands. After arriving at a mysterious location for Charlene, it's discovered she's executing a mountain ritual to divorce her husband, Dud Wash. After the ritual's complete, she announces she's now available to be with Andy. Barney's solution is to read up on mountain folklore and determine if there's any way they can reverse the ritual and protect Andy from being locked up in the marriage. In the meantime, Andy tries to reason with Charlene and the rest of the Darling family. Unfortunately, Charlene's father, Briscoe Darling, played by Denver Pyle, respects the rules of the mountain ritual and accepts that Andy will be wed to Charlene when the ritual is complete. After some research, Barney returns with a solution that can get Andy out of his situation. They simply have to dig up the items Charlene buried during her ritual. After this conclusion, we get our first look at Bob Denver as Dud Wash. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, make sure you click the like button and subscribe to our channel for a lot more like it. When Barney and Andy go to dig up the ritual items, they're caught by the Darling family. Ready to give up, Barney tries to convince Andy to find the silver lining. Then, they find one more solution that could help Andy escape the marriage. While Barney struggles to control his horse and curse Andy's marriage, Dud Wash continues popping up to make any effort to delay the marriage. Fortunately, Barney gets things together just in time for Dud Wash to make a final apology to Charlene and preserve their marriage. As usual, everything ends happily, with Dud Wash and Charlene Darling's marriage intact. As the episode closes, Bob Denver even gets a chance to show off his singing voice, capping off a memorable guest appearance on one of the most recognizable shows of the 60s. Charlene and Andy's love story continues. Although Andy is no longer in danger of an unwanted marriage after this episode, Charlene's love for the sheriff continues throughout the series. The following season, she returns in an episode called The Darling Baby, in which it's revealed she has a newborn daughter. She names her daughter Andalina, an obvious tribute to Sheriff Andy. As is tradition in the Darling family, Charlene is seeking to arrange a marriage for her daughter. They quickly determine that Opie is the best candidate, leaving Andy in another position of trying to escape contracts with the Darling family. Fortunately, Andy is once again able to get out of the situation by convincing the Darling family that the Taylor family bloodline is affected by witchcraft. Sadly, both Bob Denver and Hoke Howell are absent from this episode, as Dud Wash made no further appearances after the Mountain Divorce episode. Bob Denver as Gilligan. Of course, Bob Denver went on to have the biggest role of his career as Gilligan in Gilligan's Island. It's difficult to say whether his appearance on the Andy Griffith Show made any contribution to the show's success, especially because Gilligan's Island failed to get any significant traction during its initial run. It was canceled after just 3 seasons due to dropping ratings and conflicting schedules with Gunsmoke, which was more popular at the time. Once the series entered syndication, it became much more popular and fueled decades of love for the show and its cast. The character of Gilligan became a huge cultural icon, and the age-old debate of Ginger versus Mary Ann continues to this day. Although Bob Denver will forever be remembered for playing Gilligan, fans of Mayberry will also remember his role as Dud Wash for many years to come. Now it's time to hear from you. Leave us a comment and let us know if you remember Bob Denver's appearance in this episode of The Andy Griffith Show. If not, tell us about your favorite episode. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to Factsverse if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.